Hi, I'm Emmanuel and welcome to my continuing playthrough of Scythe. I am playing solo. So it's our turn. What are we going to do? We can now cross rivers with our units, and we are trying to get to two spaces adjacent to the factory so that we can go ahead and complete one of our objectives. So let's do that right here. Let's go ahead here and move, and we're going to be moving 3 units. First unit we're going to move is our character, and the second movement we are going to do is let's go ahead and move this mech carrying 3 workers into that same space right here. Let's do that. Can we do the bottom? We don't have any oil, so we can't do that bottom action. So let's go back over to the Automa. The Automa, looking for another objective or the factory. So we already know how this works. Let's look at the neighborhood. The neighborhood would be all of these over here. There are no, none of these are the factory, none of these are objectives. So we're going to be skipping that, and instead we're going to do a non-combat move of the character. So let's look for that. Non-attacking move of the character. Select the Automa character, valid hexes, neighborhood of any Automa unit, neighborhood of Automa's base, where there's no enemy unit and no mech. So that would be all of these spaces here and these 2 spaces here. Because this one has a mech, it is excluded. So we're looking for the valid hex and the one that is shortest distance from enemy combat unit, which would make it this space right here, which is 2 spaces away. And closest to the factory, it's right next to the factory. So place the selected unit. Character picks up the encounter token, there is none, and character picks up a factory card, there is none already. Automa gets another worker. They only have 1 worker left on their board, as well as 1 other coin. They are now at 11 coins. They also get a star, so that moves it forward over here. There is no reward over here for us on this 3rd section. Back over to us. Now, it would be really good if we can move again, but we can't move. This is a lake. We can move from one lake to the other. What do we want to do? Let's go over here. We're going to pay whoops, knocked everything over. We're going to pay $1, and we're going to go ahead and produce 2 steel. Let's put it over here. And we don't have enough steel to complete and buy another mech, so we are done with that action and over to the Automa for their action. They are going to be moving a mech. So let's go look at non-combat move of a mech. Here we go. There's only 1 mech, so that'll be the mech that'll be moving. And what we're looking for is no enemy unit, no other combat unit. It excludes this one over here. The neighborhood, which would be all of these spaces over here. Valid hex, shortest distance from a combat unit, and tiebreaker is closest to the factory. The mech moves into the factory. We look at the next one. Yes, we are playing with this faction. Therefore, we get another mech and another mech. Things are looking grim. No reward once again for us, and the star moves forward once again. Back over to us. Now, we're going to go move some units, but I just realized we made a little bit of a tactical error here. I need 2 oil over here, and instead of buying oil, I bought steel. Oh well, it is what it is. We're going to move 3 units. Now, recall that one of our objectives is to have 0 factory cards and have at least units controlling 2 territories adjacent to the factory. So let's do that here. We'll move this guy over here with 1 guy, this guy here over with 2 guys, this guy over here. We can't do the bottom part, so we end our turn and we complete the objective, getting us our first star. Don't need the objective cards anymore. And we go back to the Automa. The Automa. They're going to move a worker. And to move a worker, now let's look at all of the neighborhood of these cards. So these are all valid hexes. These ones over here as well, over here, over here. I'm skipping the ones with combat units. The workers won't come here. So all of these guys over here are valid. So we're going to pick up, it'll be from our home territory. And let's go see what it says here for the tiebreakers. Move worker. We don't want any enemy unit. We don't want any other worker. We're looking for a valid hex in the neighborhood of the most Automa units. So let's go ahead. This one here is adjacent to 1. I don't think it's adjacent to the base. We won't count that as adjacent to the base. That one has 1. That one has 1. This territory here has 1, 2, 3. This territory here has 1, 2. That has 1. That has 2. That has 2. And that has 2. So this is the territory with the most. Therefore, he will go over here. Automa also gets 2 power. We don't get anything, and the star moves forward. When it moves forward one more time, we'll be forced to change to the level 2 deck. Let's put that back. All right, it's time to produce. We have to produce over here. We're going to go over here. We have to pay 1 power to produce this round, and we produce in 2 territories. So let's see. Let's think about what we want to produce before we do our next thing. I'm going to be wanting to move. So let's go ahead and produce in this territory for 2 oil so that we can take advantage of that and not make the same tactical mistakes as before. And for the second territory, we are going to produce in we're going to be able to get a steel here for another mech. So this is wood, not steel. Yeah. That's wood as well. Well, let's go ahead and produce, let's produce a food, and put it over here. That's this over here. We don't have the wood to build a building, so our turn is done. We go back to the Automa. The Automa is moving a worker. We saw how that works. There's 1 guy here. There's two guys here. There is 1, 2, 3 guys over here. 1 guy, 2 guys, 2 guys, 2 guys. This one has 3. The worker comes over there. Automa gets 3 power. They're up to 10 power, and their star moves forward, and we are now at level 2 cards. So I take this card, take all of these cards. I take all of the discard pile over here as well, and shuffle everything together. If I can just pick these guys up, shuffle everything together, and we will flip the deck, and next turn we will start with the level 2 cards. There we go. That is shuffled. Let's give it a quick cut. There we go. Level 2 cards. Back over to us. Let's go and fight. The Automa has a lot more power though. But if we come in with 2 units, we can play with 2 cards. Let's risk it. We're going to move over here. We're going to move 3 units. So let's move this guy over into here, this guy over into here. We're going to be able to play 2 cards. And our third unit will be... Let's see now. Let's move this guy over here into the tunnel so that we can get some steel. So let's go ahead and do this fight. So let's get the card here for combat. Here you go. First step. Choose our combat value. So we're going to use everything. We're going to use all 3. We get to play 2 cards. So let's play our 2 highest cards, which is a 3 and a 2. So we are at 8 power. Draw an Automa card. So they get this card, and then we get to look at the bottom over here. And the range, they're at 10. So they're going to be using 0 power. But they are going to play 1 card. So let's grab a card from the top here. Well, we know it goes only to 5. It's a 3. We beat them. So this is what happens. This gets discarded. This gets discarded. Now, normally we would have had a reward based on the last card. But because we're in the factory, it doesn't apply. So we would have looked at this symbol over here to see what reward we would have gotten. But it doesn't apply to the factory. These 2 go away, that goes away. The mech goes back to the mat. We get another star for our first victory, and we are in the factory, therefore we get we get to see what these are over here. But before I do that, and I don't want to forget, let's go ahead and finish the bottom action here and pay the 2 oil to get 1 coin and 1 upgrade. Let's go ahead and upgrade the combat value over here, and let's reduce the cost of building a building over here. Let's do it that way. Should we do that way? We're 1 short. If I reduce the cost, you know what? Let's reduce the cost of enlisting, because we have enough to enlist if we want to. So that's what we'll do. So that'll be the end of that, but we're going to go ahead and look at what we have here. So we have, these are the 3 cards we have. What do we want? Pay 2 different resources to gain a mech or a building. Pay 1 power to get 2 popularity, or pay 2 different resources to get an enlistment or an upgrade. The building one can be quite handy, since it costs us the most wood, and that means we wouldn't have to do the bottom one over here, but we did clear out the popularity one here. We have 3 mechs and 4 buildings. We could use this one 7 times. This one over here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 upgrades and 3 enlistments. We could use that one 7 times. Yeah, that's a good one. Which one do we want to do? Okay, I'm going to grab this one here. Might not be wise. Put it over here on the board. Might not be wise, but it is. We'll see what happens. That is the end of our turn, and we go back to the Automa. Their first level 2 action. So let's look at this, and they are going to be moving a mech. This is non-combat movement. So they're looking for a space with no other mechs that is closest to enemies and closest to the factory. So let's go ahead and see what it is here. Any neighborhood of any Automa unit, no enemy unit, no combat unit. So we're looking at shortest distance from enemy combat unit. We're looking at these 2 spaces over here, and this one over here as well. And closest to the factory would be, all of these 3 would be closest to the factory. And finally, it would be reading order, which would be this tile right there. Next, this is not the faction that is playing, so they get a coin and they build another mech. And finally, did we clear out this one, this enlistment? We did not. They also get a star. They're moving forward. 1, 2, 3, 4 more spaces there, and they get their first star on the board. Back over to us. What are we going to do here? Well, let's do it. Let's go right ahead and use our new card. Pay 2 different resources. So we're going to be paying a steel and a food to build a building. Now recall that we want to be next to as many lakes as possible. If we build right here, we're next to 3 lakes, and that gets us already to the 4-point mark. So we are going to be building a building, and the building we are going to build, let's see now. Is it going to be the monument, or is it going to be, do we want to build the mill? But it does say build where there is, it does say build where there is a worker. So that sucks. You know what? Let's build the mill, and we'll put it right over here. Right over here. It's next to 2 lakes. That's a good beginning. All right, and as a second action, we get to move 1 unit 2 spaces. Well, let's go and get this objective right here. So 1 and 2. And we're going to get this objective right here. Let's remove the token. And we get the next objective card. And recall, we get two of the choices. Rescue survivors from the fallen dreadnought. Gain 1 worker and 1 popularity. Light and match too close to the fuel tanks. Light a match not too close to the fuel tanks. Pay $1 and place 1 medal on this territory and each territory adjacent to this territory. Take credit for the wreck to instill fear in the locals. Pay 1 popularity to gain 3 power. If you then have more power than each opponent, gain 2 resources. Well, we're going to do the first one for sure. Gain a worker and a popularity. So we'll do that here. And the worker goes over here. And then pay $1 to get a medal on this territory and all adjacent territories. We'll do that too because I don't like the idea of having to lose popularity. So we put 1 on each of these. I assume the water hexes as well, including this territory as well. All right, that is our adventure. We'll finish with the Automa, and that'll be it for today's playthrough. The Automa is moving a mech non-combat. Well, we know how it works. It is in the neighborhood of their pieces. It'll be close to a combat mech, and it'll be closest to the factory, which would be this space here because it's close to this one, and this space here because it's close to this one here. That is as far as we need to do, and then it'll be reading order, which would be this territory over here gets a mech. Next, we're not playing yellow, so we skip that. They get 2 power, and they get to build their last mech as well. Finally, we did not uncover this one. We don't get this reward, but they do move forward 1 space. And that is it for today's playthrough. I hope you are enjoying my playthrough of Scythe. If you are, I appreciate your thumbs up. Join me tomorrow for the continuation. Thanks for watching.